Hello and welcome to the Footy on the Med podcast. Join Alex Wade and John O'Hare as they explore football clubs and football culture along the Mediterranean coast. Thank you, voiceover guy. This week we travel back to Sanremo to watch Sanremese play Casale in a Serie D clash. At half-time we make two new friends, Gianluca and Roberto, and Alex wastes no time in correcting Casale's number one fan about dates.
They won an Italian title in 1913.
I was going to say, Casale won the title 1913 to 14.
He then implies they are no longer important to the guy's face.
And for 2 decades was an important club.
And finally, he wearily questions if they could ever rise again.
Do you think Casale can ever rise again and become a serious
It's about
force?
So join us for this week's episode of Footy on the Med. Time for the first half. Just warming up my larynx here as we start off the day. We're back in Sanremo where Sanremese play. They're playing against Casale today. I'm looking out over the Med, sitting in a very sunny stand. So I must be in the north stand because the south is directly in front of me. I'm not going to have Alex disagreeing with me on that this week. So if this is north and that's south, that's east where the nice pink house is. And we have the most amazing Baroque castellated mansion on the west.
That's right, can't disagree with your geographical assessment of where we are, John. We're definitely facing due south right now in Sanremo's home ground. This is a Serie D clash between Sanremo, the home side, and Casale. Casale sitting a couple of places above Sanremo at the moment in the Serie D table.
Behind us you will hear the Sanremese faithful, some of whom declare themselves to be ultras. They were quite vocal at our last game, we witnessed them at.
Yeah, they're having a good sing-song behind us. I doubt very much there'll be anybody really here from Casale. Italian fans, we have discovered, are a bit kind of hit and miss as to how much they travel for away games. Casale is in the Piedmont region of Italy, 60 kilometres east of Turin. So it's a bit of a hike down here on a Wednesday afternoon, a working day of the week. So I think we probably can fairly say that it's only Sanremo fans we're going to be hearing chanting today.
Well, now that you've said that, I'm going to have to support Casale. I'll be one of their supporters. Maybe that's them over there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 over there. 11 if you count the police presence. Probably 30 if you count the media in the media box.
Well, if Casale do take the lead here, John, I look forward, it's been good knowing you. So, if you are going to do a victory dance as the only Casale fan.
Give me a C, give me an A, give me an S, give me another A, and an L and an E. Casale, Casale, Casale.
It's a nice name, actually, isn't it, Casale?
Do you think it's Kaz or Cas? Casale or Casale?
Casale.
The last time we saw Sanremo play, Sanremese, they had a goalkeeper who was remarkably young looking. He's back in goal again today, wearing his now famous number 12 shirt. And it's nice to see old faces, even though that face is remarkably young.
He is, yes. He's considerably younger than you and I.
Closer to my age than yours, I will just point out as usual.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. It's an absolutely fantastic little stadium, isn't it? It's floodlit. All 4 sides or just 2 sides?
It really is. I mean, this is pretty much a stone's throw from the Med. This really is Footy on the Med. It's a gorgeous, baking hot afternoon. Couldn't get much better than this, really.
Might slightly be better if we were in the shade, because it's blinking hot.
Yeah, I think we could be tested by the end of this game, sitting here in this baking hot sun trap.
What are we going to be tested for? Heat stroke?
Yeah, we'll be carried out of here.
Oh, okay. Thought we'd be carried out if I start singing Casale, Casale, who you want? There's only one Casale, one Casale. Our team's on the attack, number 14 on the edge of the box. Plays it out wide.
Casale looking more likely as they continue this attack down the right-hand side. Now, John, as our resident Italian speaker...
Yes, oui, d'accord. Hold on, wrong language. Si, senor.
The Casale, have you noticed they have a star on their shirts, on the front of their shirts?
Oh, they must have won something.
Well,
What did they win?
Well, no, it's not so much that, but it's their nickname. They are known as the Nero Stellati.
The Nero Stellati.
The Nero Stellati.
So the black little star.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Stella is star, isn't it? So Stellati.
The Starred Blacks is what their nickname is.
Oh, okay. A couple of weeks ago, we found ourselves watching Sanremo play against... Who's the team again, Alex?
Last weekend.
Yeah. No, Sanremo.
Oh, Sanremo. They played Imperia. They're in now. The number 10's in. Sort of a toe poke pass across the ball, across the penalty area. They're not a lot of conviction, but they've got a corner.
And the Sanremo Imperia game was meant to be in this stadium, and it was moved last minute to the Imperia Stadium. After a frantic drive, we got there kind of on time, kind of missed 2 goals, and no, that was a different game.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. We did get there a little bit late, and we laboured under the misapprehension that Imperia had won 1-0, only to find later that in fact Sanremo had scored 2 goals while we were trying to find the ground.
They must not have known we were on the way and started without us, which, quite frankly, is a bit rude, seeing as the Italians are well known for their hospitality, and for them to just ignore the fact that we weren't there yet and carry on.
Well, that didn't happen today, did it? Because we got into the ground about 5 minutes late and they hadn't kicked off, so they were clearly waiting for us.
Our name is becoming known. People now recognise us and saying, "Oh, Footy on the Med aren't here yet. Let's just hold our horses."
Well, I think we've got every chance of being on local Italian TV tonight, given that we're in full view of the Italian cameraman opposite us.
If that camera's actually turned on. How would you say "hold your horses" in Italian? Porte la cavalli, your cavalli, sua porte la sua cavalli. Carry your horses. Hold your horses. Hold.
That's reasonably convincing to me.
Yeah, I think that's how I'd say it. That'd be take your horses. Prendere. Sì. We're going to hold our horses. Prendiamo i nostri cavalli. I'm entertaining myself as the ball goes out for a throw-in to the Casale. Faithful.
Yeah, I'll just do the research. You witter on.
Yeah, I like to witter. The pitch is in good condition. It's October the 7th, thereabouts. Anyway, what date is it, Alex? October the...
It's not the 7th, it's not the 5th, it's the one in between.
It's the 6th. I'm good at mathematics. What else can I see around me? We've got police to the left of me, police to the right of me, and here I am stuck in the middle with you. It's a balmy, lovely atmosphere. Something that you've thought about a lot before is whether this has an influence on the style of football and the style of management. But it is hard to be, I don't know, truculent, angry, frustrated when you're sitting here in this beautiful sunshine.
Absolutely. I mean, this is my theory is I think the ultras might sort of, they sing and they chant and they look pretty hostile, but I can't really imagine why would anybody conceivably want to kick off and have a scrap after a game like this in a day like this?
Perhaps I go back to what I've said before. I think it might be something to do with the recipes of, you disrespected my mama's pasta kind of situation. That's not a carbonara.
Well, that always used to set me off.
Yeah, there's no cream in carbonara. Are you a lunatic? Oh dear. I've got to do while you're doing your research on this high stakes poker game, I'm going to do a bit of research of my own on the football boot colorations. Not being a Serie A game, there's less colourful boots. I think boot sponsorship for the big players, they must only say I'll be sponsored by you, but only if I'm wearing pink or orange or red. So I'm looking, there are 5 pinks today, which is a bit low on the pinkometer, and there are majority black, a couple of white, What's the ref wearing? That's always a good thing. The ref's wearing black boots with his neon yellow socks and neon yellow top. What else can I tell you? Palm trees abound. There's a couple of apartment complexes around that would have a fantastic view of the pitch. There's an absolutely spectacular house to the east. Got that right. I don't think the hoardings are masquerading as anything this week. Usually Alex accuses the hoardings wherever we go of masquerading as something. Sometimes they're stands, other occasions it was a clock. Today they just look like hoardings. Maybe they're storing something. Advertising levels have gone down a bit as well. We had Grana Padano at the last game, and now we have HP23. I have no idea what that is. And then San Lorenzo Mari Cantieri. Cantieri, got that right. So is that someone who sings? A cantieri? Cantare is to sing, correct? You're shaking your head at me. Obviously, I am actually the Italian speaker then on this podcast. If
I was noticing that the police appear to be looking at you very carefully then.
Well, I've got a very large microphone in my hand, and I don't dress like an Italian, much to my own personal chagrin. I can't quite manage to get the Mediterranean vibe down. But it must be fair to myself, I don't exactly try too hard. You always have looked very comfortable, I've noticed, in your linen outfits, as I like to refer to you as lililone. You've got linen shorts.
Outfits?
Well, you've got linen shorts. Are they linen or denim? Oh, I thought they were linen shorts as well. There's a beautiful linen top, navy.
Good play by the Sanremo number 10 then. So far in this game, we're 10-15 minutes into it now. It's been not Imperia, we're not playing Imperia today, they're playing Casale. And Casale have been knocking about nicely on the deck, playing some pretty good football. It's been mostly one-way traffic, but just then Sanremo got the ball, counter-attacked, they've lost it, and now here come Casale again.
Yes, a bit of football crept in there to my travel log.
Bit of shade, John. All of a sudden the sun has gone in, and that's no bad thing.
I haven't spotted a clock in the stadium yet, but I'm still looking. I do see something over there, but it looks more like a sundial. That would be in keeping with the whole nature of being on the Med and the sun always shining. What age would you put this stadium at? I always call them stadiums, but it's not really a stadium, is it? What is this?
I think this is a ground.
A ground, an arena.
Generally say, Anfield's an okay sort of ground, don't you? Loftus Road is a great ground, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could say that kind of thing. Whether you'd be accurate or not, it's a different matter, but you could say it.
I think that's the use of the word ground, though. Bit of space now on the left. Casale number 10, he's looking good, this number 10. Nice little ball. Yeah, good turn.
Penalty.
Was that a penalty? That looked like a penalty to us.
No. Oh, that's got to be a penalty.
That looks like a penalty.
All right.
And that is a penalty. And number 10, he's been looking good so far for Casale. Here he is, stepping up to take this penalty kick now.
Home crowd behind us, don't want it to go in, obviously.
Referee blows his whistle. Oh, it's a great save. Fantastic save by the Sanremo keeper, the number 12. Absolutely brilliant.
I don't think he'll have made a better save in all of his 12 years leading up to that one.
No, in retrospect, always an easy thing to say, but I guess he did drill it pretty nice and easily for the keeper, but it was a good save. Now that was our friend, the number 12, the Italian, the Sanremo goalkeeper, who looks very, very young, but he played with maturity beyond his years then, didn't he?
He did. We have a rather official-looking gentleman to our immediate left who's just turned up. Not official as in part of the ground, but he seems part of one of the teams. He must be watching from the other side of the pitch to get a different perspective for reporting at half-time, I presume.
You don't think he's some sort of official come to look at us two with our mics?
No, because he's watching the game.
He could be luring us into a false sense of security.
Bravo, Jamie, bravo. That was me saying bravo to Jamie, who...
You just copied the official then?
I did, but I thought no one could hear him on mic, so I'll just say, bravo, Jamie.
You're trying to make a friend of him, aren't you? It's no bad decision.
Sanremo on the
Sanremo
time.
in now. Casale give the ball away. Comes across. Yes.
A poor first touch from the number 9 there, and then thought he was going to try and make it into some kind of world-class strike, but he didn't quite manage it. I wonder in your research if you could unearth who number 10 is for Casale. It looks like, unless they all wear the same thing on the back of their shirts. I mean, because that fella's got Casale on the back of his shirt. So is he Casale playing for Casale? That seems a bit too much of a coincidence for my liking. Man.
I think you put him off then, John.
I did.
He completely lost control.
He must have heard me.
Poor old Casale from Casale.
We always find something in every game that I could do, and I could certainly do what he's just done. I think the ball being round seemed to catch him out. Didn't expect to be getting a tan in October, but I'm not complaining, obviously. It's just very nice to be getting a farmer's tan while watching a game of football on the coast, Sanremo. It's a nice town. Anyone ever thought about coming to Sanremo for either a day trip or even a longer period of time? There's all kinds of bars, restaurants, historical sites, some beautiful piazzas, big market at the weekend. It's really worth a visit.
Je suis d'accord. You're absolutely right. And the other thing we could be doing today, we're getting a tan, sitting here watching some football, some pretty good football actually, is we could have gone surfing, couldn't we, John?
We did see a number of surfers out there on the bay. There's a natural break just about 400 or 500 metres from here. And for those of you who don't know, Alex Wade, my whatever we are, co-podcaster? A co-pod?
I guess so, yeah.
Compatriate, that's what you're, my compatriate.
Partner in podcasting.
Partner pod. Is an avid surfer, or was in 1927 when he was a young man, when surfing was first invented. Were you there when surfing did come to prominence? Or
you are just, I've said it before, you're just needlessly cruel.
It's just jealousy. You do so much. You do so much.
Being a fading force, John.
Well, you've lived 15 lifetimes already, so surfing then, did it tempt you to get back out on the waves? Give us a little bit of a...
Well, absolutely. We live in Menton, and yesterday there was some pretty good surf in Menton. And here in Sanremo, I was delighted to see a little point break, I think you technically call it, and about 5 or 6 people in the lineup.
Point break?
Some pretty good after swell from yesterday's storm. And so, it's nice to know that right now some surfing is going on very, very close to where we sit.
I'll go surfing, but I'm just, waiting for my set. There's a point break reference there.
I know. Quite a good film, Point Break. I always quite liked it.
So, obviously, I'd be Keanu and you'd be Patrick Swayze's granddad?
Yes. I believe he did have a cameo role in the film, didn't he?
It's only because we were born in different decades that I come back to this recurring, probably tired joke by now, but see, I feel old. I can't imagine how you feel.
Well, again, you're twisting the knife now, aren't you? You know that I've had this knee operation. You know that if ever I was a force, I fade.
That was the surgeon
more,
twisting the knife, not me.
And here you are reminding me of it. But I can take it though. Handball against the number 10 who had his penalty saved earlier on.
I was going to see if you could find out who he was in your research, because he's probably the most influential player on the pitch right now, the number 10 for Casale.
He is, in a kind of negative influence way as well. He's a good little ball player, but of course he's also influential in the fact that he had his penalty saved, not converted.
Well, as they say, you've got to buy a ticket to win the lottery, and he was the one that bought his ticket for the penalty. It was his to miss, in a way. Were you a penalty taker at all, Alex? Did you step up? Did you have what it took to be the penalty man?
Believe it or not, I was actually. I used to take penalties for the sides I played in until one particular game.
Do tell.
In that game, John,
yeah,
Southern Sunday Amateur League, I picked up the ball. I was playing on the wing.
Handball.
Picked up the ball on the
Handball again.
left-hand side of our own penalty area in defence. I ran with it all the way up the left wing, beat numerous players, cut inside. Just as I was about to pull the trigger and fire the ball into the net, I got brutally taken down. And like anybody would do at that point in time, not least because I was actually the designated penalty taker, I grabbed the ball immediately, thinking I've run all that way, I've done all that, I'm going to take this penalty. So sure enough, put the ball down to take it, and I blasted it wide. And from that point on, the captain walked up to me and said, "Alex, that's your last penalty," which I thought was a bit cruel because I scored the ones up to that point.
That's. I mean, you won the penalty. You should. I think if you win a penalty, you should take it, unless you're absolutely useless at taking penalties.
Well, the thing is, it actually, genuinely, literally was my penalty to miss.
Now, you say it was an amateur game, and you mentioned the captain there. Are you talking about the captain of the amateur football team, or the captain of the Titanic? Because you were on the maiden voyage, but managed to surf away from it. Is that correct?
That's right. I surfed away from it and went on to an illustrious career in the Southern Sunday Amateur League.
Nice. I would tell you a similar story of mine, but I don't have one.
I used to take them for a very illustrious five-a-side team as well that won the university tournament 2 years in a row. And that was notwithstanding the last penalty I took for that particular team, which I completely miscued, and I scuffed it, but the keeper had already decided to dive to his right, and you could just watch it trickle down the middle into the net. It was the worst penalty I ever took, but it went in.
Goal's a goal. Well, belated congratulations for that. Did it win the game?
It did, actually, yeah. Such a triumph as well. They still talk about it in the five-a-side halls of Leicester Polytechnic now, to Montfort University.
It's a free kick to Casale over on the right-hand side, their right-hand side, as the ball's going to swing in. There's a big number 33 in the middle. That's who I'd aim for. And went all the way through to the back. What a thumping strike that was. And the ball has been booted out of the stadium, ground, whatever you want to call it, and to give some insight, with a good bounce off a roof of a house that could actually technically land on the beach. That's how close we are to the Mediterranean today. There's a disappointing lack of trains going by. We had a lovely experience when we were down at Imperia with the train flying by every 5 minutes, so really enjoyed it. I got to like that train. Some of the people on it seemed very nice as they waved as they went by.
That's just wishful thinking, Don. I didn't see anybody waving at all.
Only in my dreams, Alex.
But you're absolutely right, there is not a train that goes past this ground. But we can see the sea. And I think in our quest to cover footy on the Med, we're going to have to make a record of this. And how many other stadia or grounds will we be in from which we can see the sea?
That's a great point. Any closer, we'd be floating, wouldn't we?
Our home side of Rapide de Menton, I think they're almost as proximate to the sea as this one. Monaco, of course. From a certain point in the stadium, perhaps you can see the sea. I'm not sure, but it is incredibly close to the water. But where else?
If you're on the roof, almost certainly.
Yeah, I think you'd have to climb up to the roof. Monaco's ground doesn't offer a natural vantage point for the sea.
I've not been in Nice's ground yet. It's the Alliance Centre. I don't think they'd be able to see out of anything there. It's a very large, modern ground. Stadium. Handball. He hit the post. Cleared away.
Casale hit the post out. I think that was the number 10. It's a good half-foot volley by one of his colleagues. Came scuffing across the penalty area. The number of 10 stuck out a left foot and caught the post with it.
In all of that melee there in the box, one of the Sanremo players handballed it. It wasn't noticed by the referee, but from our vantage points it was quite obvious. And then his natural reaction was to say handball to himself and to the referee, but no one paid attention. I'm going to be doing a lot of editing of this podcast, I can tell you that. One of the facts I know about Sanremo's team is they're known as the Sanremese. And another football almost went out of the ground there. I think some players are trying to do this on purpose. It'd be something that I'd have with any of my mates. Hey, if you can get the ball into the sea, I'll give you a tenner. What, during the game? Yeah. You've got to clear it. It's got to go over the south stand and get to the beach. You're on. Now, they wouldn't have actually had to say that to me, because I could have just been trying to pass the ball across the pitch and it would have gone over that wall. I wasn't known much for anything, but certainly not finesse.
You're doing yourself a disservice there, John. I've seen you play. I've seen you bestride the pitch like a colossus.
Colossus, yeah. Now.
With
I see.
A nice touch as well, every now and then.
I thought you were going to say something else beginning with T then. I can't work out what they're chanting, but I don't feel too bad about that, because I can't work out what most supporters chant at games anyway.
Is that a red card? We have a red card in this game.
We had
straight red for that scything challenge. The Galarese player is still on the deck.
It's number 28, is it? Is he the guy that got sent off? We had a red card and a bit of blue language at the same time from the nice gentleman to our right.
He was referring to, the player shouted something to do with cats. Did you hear that?
Yes, cats. So are they near the ground?
Something like that.
And
cats and the first two letters of the word zoo.
And then this gentleman wants a van with cooling to lay some bedding.
Yeah, that's. I think we've distilled the essence of what happened now. Now, was that a red? Let's count the players.
Yeah, I saw him walk off.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think they've volunteered gone down to 10 men.
So the Sanremo keeper, who's not the biggest lad, as we've previously observed, is going to have his work cut out here. Comes this ball. Well claimed
I tell
indeed.
you what, he's some keeper, that lad. And that was aimed at number 11. He's telling him he's left the cooling on in his van.
If he's talking about Sanremo number 11, I don't actually rate him very much. I think he's been pretty poor so far.
He looks a bit clumsy. No, I see what he's talking about. Obviously the Casale at number 11. He's telling him in no uncertain terms what he thinks of him. He's asked him to leave the stadium ground pitch a number of times now.
Has he suggested that he's the kind of man who likes to be alone with his thoughts?
No, he's just asked him if he could go away and jerk emotions. I've noticed there's a number of windows out in the south stand, and I was just thinking, I wonder how many points you get for that.
You're absolutely right, yeah. They must have taken a battering from various footballs over the years.
Well, it was almost one hit it then, you see. That's why what a Gerrard-esque crossfield pass there. That guy looks my standard. Number 10 again.
Great save by the Sanremo keeper.
Keeper is outstanding.
It's a sort of personal duel with the number 10 now. He saved a penalty of his. Number 10's hit the post, and just now the keeper tipped that one wide.
Canido. Number 10 for Casale is Canido, who actually just tried to grab the defender quite openly there. As you've alluded to, Alex, he's not necessarily the most clean of players, but he is effective in what he's doing. He's controlled the game. He's kept the play down the left-hand side as he's seeing it. And Sanremo have not been able to get out of their half. They did shortly for a couple of seconds and then got pinned back again.
Oh, I see what you mean about the Calrese number 11.
Casale number 11, yeah, he's a bit...
Casale, sorry.
He's got my speed and skill, unfortunately, for that man.
He?
Yeah, he's big and tall. Maybe he's good in the air. Mark Haitley, of course, had a spell abroad, didn't he?
He did.
I was thinking Andy Carroll. That's probably a better description. He's a big, tall, handsome fella like Andy Carroll. And there it is, half-time, 0-0, and it's very lucky for Sanremo that it is 0-0. They were absolutely battered.
Absolutely, completely agree with that assessment. And they're down to 10 men for the second half. They lost a player with 10 minutes to go in the first half. Brutal challenge, deserved red card. Another very nasty challenge went in just before the end of the game, didn't it?
Yeah, there was plenty of nastiness going around, and the home fans didn't like it at all. But it was their players that was committing most of the offences.
It's time for half-time chat.
Gianluca.
Oh, Gianluca, like Gianluca Viale. Roberto, yeah, you did. Oh, Roberto Mancini. Gianluca Viale and Roberto Mancini, here we go.
Okay, we're doing a podcast on football in the Mediterranean. Okay. So football in Monaco, Marseille, Sanremo, Genoa, as many places as we can go to. In England, it's wet, it rains, it's cold. In the Premier League, the game is played at an incredibly fast pace, yeah? Is football in the Mediterranean, is there something different about it to football elsewhere?
I think that football is very similar everywhere, even if obviously if you have a beautiful pitch, if you have a crowded stadium, it's maybe the rhythm of the game could be faster, and also it depends on the characteristic of football in different countries. That could be little differences, but now we have in this game a player that was playing in Premiership.
Is that your number 10?
Yeah, no, number 8 of Casale. The captain of Casale was playing in Middlesbrough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And
What's
also
his
Malaury Martin.
Okay.
He is French.
Okay.
And for example, he is a good player to ask the question because he had experience there. Now he's playing here.
Yeah.
He played in the Norwegian league. He played in France, so he is a good picture of the overall situation. Yeah.
A well-travelled player.
Number 8 in the black shirt with star.
Sure. Okay.
That is a very, very, very important football team in the past because they won an Italian title in 1913.
I was going to say, yeah, you Casale won the title 1913 to 14, and for 2 decades was an important club.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
It was a club of quadrilatero that was 4 teams from Piemonte that made the history of football because they won 8 titles, Provercelli 7 and Casale 1, and produced a lot of good players in an area that now is not producing players anymore. But at that time, I don't know why, because they were countryside men. They were strong, they were healthy, and they were playing football better than other part of Italy.
Okay.
Then it became a business, and small villages could not compete with the big cities.
So, do you think Casale can ever rise again and become a serious
It's about
force?
At the end, it's about money because we have smaller teams than Casale in Serie A, for example, but it's not so simple to find money in this world, so it depends. Obviously, the football at the moment could allow a little team to rise and to reach Serie A, but just if you have enough money to make the deal.
Okay. So are you down here? Are you working with Casale? Do you take photographs for them? Or?
I'm following as a photographer.
Okay.
Normally, today is a very particular day because I'm here for my real job. So this interview is completely. I was taking you a photo, but I was thinking that you were from Sanremo. Then I saw him, and I was saying, not from Sanremo.
He's not from around here.
No.
People say that about him all the time.
You could be more Mediterranean, but
keep going.
he's not.
Did you hear that, listeners?
I did. Well, we've talked about that before. I don't blend it.
Now, forgive me, it's my age, as he keeps telling me. Sorry, I know, Roberto, I remembered. Your name was?
Gianluca.
Gianluca. Gianluca, can you tell me, recently we came down to this stadium, this ground, to watch Sanremo play in the Coppa Italia, and they were listed to play Imperia here at this ground. When we got here, the fixture had been moved to Imperia.
No.
Does that happen often? That kind of thing?
Not so often. Normally the communication is not the best, but not so poor. So
Okay.
the place in which the game is played is not so strange. It's strange not to know the place in which the game has to be played.
Yeah.
So normally the changes could happen till Tuesday, if you have to play on Sunday, and maybe Friday if you have to play on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But no. This is the 4th Italian league.
Yeah.
So if you reach the next level is professional football.
Okay.
So it's quite.
I was wondering about this. So is this semi-professional here? Kind
yeah,
of.
but more professional than semi.
Okay. Okay.
It's formally semi, but the substance is professional.
And could you tell me then, what's the average player get paid per month to play for one of these teams?
I would say the average 30,000.
30,000 euros. Okay.
30,000 the average, with peaks at 100.
100,000.
Yeah, but just
A year.
one player in all the league maybe, but the best striker, or the one that the teams think about him as the best.
Okay.
But not more.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and what about a Serie A player playing for Sampdoria now? The average player, what are they earning per year?
Okay, like
Crazy
everywhere in the world. So could a Sampdoria player could earn like 2 million euros.
So Roberto, you're a Casale fan as well?
No, I'm here for business work,
Okay.
for job, and but Gianluca is a fan of Casale, and
Okay.
before we come back to Milan, we watch the game.
So he's taken you along to watch
Yes.
this game today. Okay. So who's your team? Who do you follow? Do you support a team?
Juventus.
Juventus.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are they called?
Not good period for us, for fans, for Juventus fans.
Should you have let go of Pirlo? Andre Pirlo? The manager. It's my Italian accent.
Pirlo.
I thought he did a good job last season. You were fourth. You won the Coppa Italia.
Yeah, I think it's not a good job. Probably he don't have a good player in the specific in the midfield, in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think the team is the same of this year. And Allegri, I think, is better than Pirlo. Had a good experience, and.
It's got to be the last season. Is Cellini still playing this year?
Yes.
And Bonucci as well?
Bonucci, yeah.
Yeah, Cellini's quite old now, isn't he?
Yeah, Chiellini and Bonucci play in the defense of the.
Yeah. And you guys must have been very happy with Italy in the European Championships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think you deserve to win it?
Probably France have the.
And England?
England. I would like to do a question.
Yeah, sure.
Why England? Every 4 years, every European qualifiers and World Cup probably is the best or the top club, but never win.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So, yes, in qualifying, we often have the best record, or one of the very best records, and then come to the tournament, the proper event, we fall and we can't seem to do it. Historically, I think we've been there's a massive over-expectation of success in England. You know, we're not the best footballing nation. Italy, Spain, France, for example, are definitely better footballing nations. Yeah, and Germany. However, I think in the last 4 to 5 years or so, under Roy Hodgson first of all, and then Gareth Southgate, the current manager, the way they're now looking at playing the game, I think, as Gianluca said, in the next World Cup, I think we could build on something and actually compete properly.
It's weird when England doesn't win with Steven Gerrard and Frankie Lampard and Wayne Rooney.
Listen, guys, thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Catch you again a bit later.
Bye-bye.
Okay, ciao.
It's time for the second half.
So it's a spicy start to the second half. Some niggly challenges by both sides. Still 0-0. I recognise that voice. Sure, I heard him in full flow at the Imperia game.
You reckon you can recognise someone screaming? We've cracked it. We live on the Med long enough.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a technical worry there, everybody. I didn't know whether this was recording. And now I've seen a marker that says, I thought 45 minutes and 29 seconds. I thought, well, that sounds about right. But then realised, well, that's not long enough. And then noticed it was counting down. And now realise it's telling me we've got 45 hours and 28 minutes of recording time left, is what it's telling me. So, disaster averted, everybody.
Well, to our listeners, John is the resident chief technical officer. And
A position that
the
was
horse's mouth.
There was that was a position that was not necessarily hard to get or contested by anybody.
Hang on. In hindsight, I was right when I told you about that. The phone didn't have the devicey thing and the cable thing and the other thing.
I got a panicked phone call one day, listeners, and I was not much better, to be honest with you.
No, you laughed. You laughed down the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm always hurting you these days.
I know. It's lucky I'm, approaching my 50th year, and I've seen the world and can take these things.
50th year of what? Being older than 50?
Being able to speak.
Ah.
I was a late developer.
Well, it was a nice little interlude with Gianluca and Roberto.
It was. Nice couple of lads. I thought we were being photographed for official purposes, i.e. what the hell are those two doing?
He did seem a little officious when he came over, didn't he? And was like, so what are you doing here?
Yeah. But ultimately, he was just curious about how one of us seemed to fit in and the other didn't.
That was hilarious. If it wasn't picked up too well on the mic, I don't know why you didn't react more to that. I would have been laughing my head off. So,
game getting very feisty again, right in front of us.
The referee needs to get a handle on this game. Oh well, it's devolving.
So not content
now.
with pulling his shirt and fouling him, the Sanremo player then blasted the ball at the prone Casale defender.
It was very accurate as well. It hit the defender right in the head, which he's not been that accurate in his actual attempts on goal. He's hit the post, had a penalty saved, but managed to get the fella right in the top of his noggin. I was thinking you need to get Gianluca Vialle's information so that you can perhaps purloin some photographs from him, from his travels on the sea, on the Med, looking at football matches.
Absolutely.
What he does.
Yeah, I think so. I think also because of our chat with Gianluca and Roberto at half-time, normally, of course, we do our 3 facts each at half-time.
We do.
Now, I think we're going to have to weave them into this second half.
Are we going to be able to find the time from this high-powered, high-pitched end-to-end?
Yeah, it is a good game. It is moving pretty quickly, but the ball is comfortably still in Casale's half as they slowly go forward. So I'll confront you with my first facts, John.
Okay.
About Casale.
Get ready for 3 facts each.
One thing, I think you might know this because Gianluca gave you a clue earlier. Is it true or false to say that Casale once won the Scudetto, the Italian National Football League Championship?
I'm going to say false because the way you've worded the question, and he also didn't say Scudetto, he said the Prima Liga or whatever it was, correct?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Oh.
Casale did indeed win the Italian title in the 1913-14 season.
Yes, but was it called Serie A in 1913? Or the Scudetto?
Probably not. I suppose I should have said, is it true or false to say that Casale were once top of the tree?
Yes, I thought that's what the question was, Alex. My word, we need to be more precise in our language.
No, you're right. That was hopelessly imprecise, and I apologise, John.
Apology accepted.
Okay. I don't know whether you have a fact for me or not about Sanremo, but I'll give you time to think of it.
Okay.
Let's just catch up with a bit of the action. Still 0-0, 15 minutes into the second half. Overhead kick there from the player who blasted the ball at the prone defender a minute ago. Also, John, I'm surprised you haven't pointed out the houses nearby.
I mentioned them at the top of the hour when you were scribbling away.
Was that when you were wittering away?
I was wittering away about housing.
But the interesting thing about the housing is that despite the many good vantage points to see this game for free, no one is on a balcony watching it. I find that interesting.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I found it interesting. I was looking Because in an apartment complex, not one person over there, not one person in that apartment complex, that nice housey looking thing over there, you're right. I can't see one singular person who has deigned to look over onto the ground.
Well, you'd think that if you or I lived in one of those houses, I reckon we'd be on that balcony, glass of wine in hand, having been for a bit of a surf earlier on, watching the game.
I don't think I need a football match to have a glass of wine in hand on the balcony.
True. Neither do I, to be fair.
Anyway, I have an interesting fact for you if you want to hear one. With which writer is Sanremo associated?
I'm glad you've asked me that.
Because for those who don't know, Alex is a surfer, libel lawyer, writer, footballer, hang glider, parachutist, baker, candlestick maker, butcher, podcaster now. He's a taxi driver today. So,
and also losing finalist in a challenge against Mr. Wu. Which I'll have to tell you sometime.
Mr. Wu, keepy uppy world champion, but we'll get to that.
But so yeah, actually, I know this fact, John, because once upon a time, on one of my trips to Sanremo, I found myself on a road named after this writer, and it's Italo Calvino.
Italo Calvino.
Italo Calvino, yeah. I'm not totally sure why he is associated with the town so much, but he's definitely got a road named after him, and I think he used to come here a fair bit. So Calvino, of course, the author of If on a Winter's Night a Traveller, one of the seminal post-modern texts of recent years, and another book called The Castle of Crossed Destinies, among many others. Very good novelist.
I think I haven't read either of those. Hold on. No, definitely not.
If on a Winter's Night a Traveller is really interesting. I would recommend it. It's one of those books where you, the reader, are part of the book.
Well,
does that sound like nonsense to you? Or?
It does sound like nonsense to me, yeah.
No,
but aren't you always part of the book if you're reading it? Goes into your mind, you conjure up the imagery. All books are personal, aren't they, in your own way?
Well, this is another one of our philosophical debates, because without a reader, what is a book? Anyway, Calvino has the answer, or an answer to that question.
Without a reader, what is a book? Is a chair if there's nobody sitting in it?
Well, which philosopher famously asked that very question about chairs? Do you know?
Bertrand Russell.
It wasn't actually, no. It was Bishop Berkeley.
Bishop Berkeley, if no one is sitting in a chair, is it still a chair over there by the stairs?
I don't think he concentrated quite so much on whether someone was sitting in the chair.
Oh.
It was the process of perceiving the chair. Just because we perceive it to be a chair, how do we know it is a chair?
Ah, right. Yes. I thought that was Bertrand Russell who went on about sense data. You know, what your eyes see, you smell, touch, taste, and therefore you then label the things. The matter in the earth is really just binary zeros and ones until we actually perceive it through our senses, and then we shape and form it for our own interpretation of reality. Whereas, of course, reality is not the reality we perceive. It can't be.
No, I mean, I think it's what we make it to be, isn't it? So, so we perceive ourselves here in this stadium now. I perceive myself to be a sprightly 45. I identify as 45, and therefore I am 45.
Well, you shouldn't have to lie about things like that, Alex, because the nice Italian people we met at half-time perceived you to be of Mediterranean ilk. In fact, even went so far as to say you could look Mediterranean. And then he quite clearly looked with disdain upon me and said, "You're obviously not from around here."
Yeah, but he didn't add, "You look like a young Mediterranean," did he?
No, he didn't. But, I mean, you do look like a weathered writer from the Med. But do you think, getting back to myself, because it's my favourite topic, was he referring to the way I was dressed or my somewhat Scandinavian good looks?
I think it's... Hang on a minute. Ball comes in from good save. There's our keeper again. He's having a blinder, isn't he?
He is.
Saved a penalty. He's tipped one ball wide from a blasting shot. He's commanded his box, taken every single cross, and just plucks that one out of the sky, but also wins a free kick.
He's kept them in the game. And he is, if I do a quick scan, is he the most diminutive player on the pitch, and he's the goalkeeper?
He is. Yeah, I mean...
It's hard to overstate how small he is.
I would say that he's even smaller than I am.
Well, we all get smaller as we age.
We do, that's very true. That's what I've been
Or
telling
do
people
we?
for
I
many
mean,
years.
do you perceive that to be true? I mean, it's all about sense data again. And
Well, I still perceive myself to be 5'10", which is what I started off as.
what, you were born 5'10", your poor mother. I grew into my 6'4".
I became 5'10" when I was sentient. I mean,
So you weren't sentient until you were 15. What kind of a childhood?
I was 5'10" at 11.
You weren't
Year of my
sentient until you were.
sentience.
You should have been sentenced at 11. Never mind
I think
sentient.
the way this is going, possibly yes. Anyway,
We didn't
Calrese.
get back to whether I was Norwegian or just poorly dressed.
No, I was deliberately trying not to answer that. So I'm more sensitive than you. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Oh, I don't have any of those left.
No, I think for our listeners, I'm of a more swarthy Mediterranean hue. It's been confirmed by our new friends. And John is of a more Viking-esque, Spartan.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone own the word swarthy as a positive before. Oh yes, I am. Writing. Luckily, we're not on dating apps because you'd be writing, "I am swarthy, inconsistent, unreliable."
At least it wouldn't
a
be-
young-looking 55-year-old.
Yeah. Swarthy, youthful, 55. Okay.
Okay, fact number 2 from me, and then I think it's back to you for your fact. This ground, Stadio, so it's a stadium. So that ends that then. That ends that. Stadio Comunale, here in Sanremo, that holds the Sanremese football team. How many people fit in here? Capacity, please.
Well, do you know what? I actually looked this up earlier on.
Oh, well, that spoils the whole point of this
Yeah,
section.
yeah. But, well, no, we've both got to do our research, John, haven't we?
Yeah, I was busy.
Not just one of us, but yeah. So anyway, but and it said, I was going to tell you and confirm that it's 4,000, but I can't believe for a minute that 4,000 people could get in here. I'd say it's more like 2,000, wouldn't you?
Depends. Do you think they allow them to stand down at the running track there? You could probably cram in a lot of people in
I suppose
there.
you could, yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like a 4,000-seater stadium.
What's the sort of crest above
Yes.
the press box opposite us?
But we can't see it from this side. It faces outward, obviously.
Yeah,
So we'll have to clock that on the way out and maybe do an addendum
we will.
to let the people know what it is. It looks quite impressive. But what's going on the game, Alex? Let me know.
Still 0-0.
So
Sanremo holding on well here, really, all
Yeah.
things considered.
they actually have got a better control of it in the second half. They're still not attacking very well.
Is this that number 11 who I don't like very much?
No, the number 11 you don't like too much is on the other team.
No, it's actually that one,
Oh,
Sanremo.
okay.
I
Well,
think he's,
I don't like the lumbering number 11 for.
the lumbering number 11 looks like he's
Casale.
lumbering and hasn't got much of a touch. The number 11 for Sanremo looks like he should be a pretty decent athlete, but his touch has let him down throughout this game.
Do you have fact number 2 for me?
I will confront you with another fact, yes. And it's this. I usually like to give my facts in question form, but I'm just going to state this one as a bold fact. Okay? So
You can do the Australian thing of rising up at the end to make it a question. And the Italians do that too, of course.
They do, yeah.
Inflection, is that? What is that? What's it called?
Inflection, yeah.
It
You're
is
right. Yeah.
inflection.
Yeah, I think it's perceived as such and known as such. But anyway, no, I don't know if I'll do that. I will simply tell you that in May 1913, Casale became the first Italian football club to beat an English team.
So you could have said, to beat an English team? Go on.
No, I couldn't have done that. I'm not very good at that kind of voice modulation and all those clever fancy tricks.
The ball's in the back of the net. Never mind. Not a
Okay,
goal.
let's go on, because I'm going to add a question now. Do you know who they beat? Who Casale beat?
Do you know who they beat?
In May 1913.
In May 1913? That was the Australian inflection.
Yeah, no,
I got it. Neighbours, home and away.
Thank you for explaining that to our listeners.
Who they beat? English team, you said. I'm going to go with Liverpool FC.
No. I'm going to tell you.
With Blackburn Rovers.
Actually, they're a team that we have. They've come up in our football discussions.
QPR Rangers.
No,
QPR Rangers. I've added an extra
there's
Rangers
something
onto
to
QPR.
do with that. I have alleged that this club stole something from QPR.
Oh, was it Reading?
Yeah, that's right.
They stole
Reading.
your hoops, right?
They did. Reading were on a tour.
They lost to Casale.
Yeah, they were on a tour of Italy back in 1913, and they beat, among others, Genoa, Milan, and indeed the Italian national team. But they couldn't beat Casale, who, of course, as you know from earlier on, were back then in their ascendancy. They were the top of the tree, as we decided. Quite scrappy this second half, fun enough, isn't it? Casale have the extra man, but they can't seem to get any rhythm going to their game as they did have in the first half.
Here's my question number 3. How many times have Sanremese, the Sanremo team, I just like saying Sanremese, won Serie C, or Serie C, obviously?
I didn't actually know they had won it, but I guess they must have done. I mean, this is a decent ground, decent bit of support. 5 times.
Less than 5. More than 1.
2.
You're so on the money. Oh, it's a goal. It's a goal.
They've scored. Sanremo have scored against all odds. Extraordinary turn up in this game. The 10 men of Sanremo have scored a goal here. It's 1-0 to them. The players run over to greet the faithful who are going crazy up above us. Now, will he get a booking here for taking his shirts off, as would happen back in the UK? We'll find out in a minute. Nice little inside left foot shot. Came off the post and just sort of trickled in a bit. But beat the keeper from an acute angle. Now, wouldn't it be just typical if the scorer was indeed the number 11?
I don't think he cares at this point. Shirt was off, up on the big fence. Crowd behind us going crazy. And
it is the number 11.
The Casale captain is saying to the referee, can we restart? Let's go. Come on, no time wasting. Let's get the game going.
He's got his yellow card, by the way. So you do get a yellow card if you take your shirt off in a goal celebration out here.
I think I'd get a red if I took mine off.
I just get people saying, wow, he looks swarthy and military.
The swarthy card. Well, that certainly perked up the home support. Not that they needed perking up. They've been singing all the way through, to be fair to them. The flags have been waving. Il Drapone.
Yeah, they've made the home advantage tell at this point in the game. Sanremo 1, Casale 0.
Now, it was a well-taken goal, and the scorer will probably get a lot of the praise tonight if it remains 1-0. But it's the keeper, really, who should get all of the accolades. Well, if I was writing the match report, it would give them to the keeper. Defensively minded that I am, as Alex likes to point out. Can't win games if you don't have a good, solid defence. And the keeper there, for them, has been outstanding.
I do agree with that, John. The Sanremo keeper, he saved a penalty. He's tipped a couple of shots wide. He's commanded his box and crosses have come in. Plucked the ball out of the air, even though he's only about 5'7", it looks like from here. Probably a bit taller, actually. So as Casale try to get back into this game and find an equaliser with about 10 minutes to go. John, I'm going to tell you that they also won a trophy in 1998 to 1999. They won the Coppa Italia Dilettanti.
Coppa Italia
Dilettanti.
Dilettante.
Yeah, Dilettanti.
What does the dilettante bit mean?
I don't think it means
Dilettante.
dilettantes. No.
Be a bit of a weird competition, wouldn't it?
The cup for dilettantes.
Yeah.
I quite like that, though. No, I think it's a cup for the teams down in the 4th and 5th league levels in Italy. So Casale actually have been a reasonably successful club. And as our friend John Luca was saying, once upon a time they were a formidable outfit back in the 1920s and 30s. They were mingling with the likes of Milan and Juventus. But now it's not ever going to be the case again, I think we got from him.
Yeah, he said there wasn't enough money in the game in the region, I suppose, but swings and roundabouts, ups and downs. Football's a roller coaster. And now it's time for Word of the Week.
It's everyone's favourite time of the week, the Bon Motson.
Okay, my bon mots of the week is andiamo.
Andiamo.
Yeah, andiamo. Which
Okay.
you know what that means, don't you?
Yeah, it means let's go or we're going.
Yeah. Or sometimes in a football context, as one or two of our fans around us have been saying, hurry up, get on with it.
Yeah, andiamo. Come on. If you're leaving somewhere and you want the kids to come, hurry up. Hurry up is what it means mostly. Andiamo. Dai, forza via.
There you go. Never say we don't educate people here on Footy on the Med. Now, that was a really well taken goal, actually, by Casale. They've equalised. It's 1-1. The number 8, who has played for Middlesbrough, picked that ball up as it came loose. It got cleared very half-heartedly, just outside the D of the penalty area. He took his time, nicely dropped his shoulder, beat the player, and then just sort of slid it into the bottom left.
The Sanremo players are contesting the goal, as you see all the time, but they seem very, very vociferous in their protest, as if they are hard done by. Notably, their captain isn't joining in. Well, Alex, I've looked around the ground. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful afternoon. I've thought about a new word. Do you want to hear it?
I do. I want to know what your Bon Motson of the week is.
My Bon Motson of the week is pomeriggio.
So, is what, sorry?
Pomeriggio. Pomeriggio.
Homoriggio.
Pomeriggio.
Okay. What's that mean?
It means afternoon.
Does it?
PM.
Oh, pomeriggio.
Pomeriggio.
Okay.
What were you thinking it meant? Something to do with apples?
I was a bit confused then. It was lost in translation, given that I know no Italian at all. But yeah, okay. So pomeriggio. So it's been a buon pomeriggio.
Una buona giornata.
So our friend Gianluca told us at half-time that this number 8, now on the ball again now, is ex-Middlesbrough, and I think he said he played in the Premier League. I'm not sure that is accurate, but he definitely showed some real class then for that goal.
And in keeping with, since you had a go at my original Bon Motson, I've come up with another Bon Motson. Now's my Bon phrase. Do you want to hear my Bon Motson phrase?
Go on then.
Here it is. Ci sono molte cose da vedere. So you might say, ci sono molte cose da vedere a Sanremo.
Okay, I'm doing that classic sort of English person abroad thinking that all sounded very fast, and I have no idea what you said.
Ci sono molti.
You
know what that is.
Oh, so ci sono is I am, is it?
No.
No.
So you're good though with the sono for I am, but ci sono, there are.
Oh, there are, okay.
Molti.
Many.
Cose, C-O-S-E, cose. Ci sono molte
houses.
cose, no, casse.
All right.
Ci sono molte cose da vedere. So vedere you should get from your Latin days. Vedere, vedere.
Empty spaces.
No, there are many things to see. Vedere.
Vedere, okay.
Ci sono molte cose da vedere a Sanremo. And you can say it as a question, you see. We were going back to this earlier. So you say, scusi, signore, sì? Ci sono molte cose da vedere a Sanremo? Yeah, sì. And then he might reply, calcio.
What's that mean?
Calcio.
Oh, calcio, the football team.
The football.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a very good phrase, actually. I must admit, when you spelt it, I was thinking of the French vide, which means empty. And I thought you were saying there are many empty spaces in this stadium.
That would be pretty good if I could bring that one. Let me see. Ci sono multi. What would empty?
Oh, this could be another goal.
Oh my goodness.
And it is. Look to me from this distance as if it's the number 8 again for Casale. Ball crossed in from the right, went well beyond all defenders, and basically just dropped at his feet. He had time to control it and then just slotted in. Bit more power than the last shot, but nice finish.
On the whole, on the match as a whole, you have to really give it to Casale. I would say that Sanremo were undeserved leaders for a while.
Yeah, I think they've got it together, particularly in the since they went a goal down, actually. They've gone up a gear, Casale, and they're now deserved 2-1 leaders in this game. That's a free kick on the edge of the box for Sanremo. Dangerous position here. If they've got a free kick expert, this is going to be interesting. Goal scorer number 11 putting the ball down. Has he claimed the ball? Will he be taking this free kick?
He was actually closer in than that, the foul. The referee's done him a bit of a disservice there. The dying seconds, 2-1 down. You don't want to try and be too clever here, do you? You want to make sure the ball gets at least on the target, make the keeper work for it, maybe have an attacker following in. You don't want to sky it over the bar. Rookie mistake.
Number 11 is a right-footed player, so he'd be looking at the keeper's top left if his dreams come true here.
And behind the wall is a player laying on the ground in case when they all jump up, it goes along the ground, it'll hit the player.
Yeah, that was a trend from the Euros, wasn't it?
And the one thing I suggested was not the thing to do in the dying seconds of the game, which is sky it over the bar.
See, I think, to be honest with you, I know number 11 for Sanremo got that goal for them with his weaker left foot, sort of scuffed it in. But that free kick lacked any real belief and conviction. It was just a very lazy, I'm going to see if I can curl it, see if I can chip it. No power in it at all, over the top. Not a good effort.
It was slow enough to be, if it was on target, the keeper would have easily got it. There was no thought put into that.
It was slow enough for the keeper to have chested it down and done a bit of Mr. Wu type keepy uppy and then given it to his sweeper and Casale to have counter-attacked. The ball had no pace on it at all.
Let's not bring Mr. Wu into this just yet.
Hey, Mr. Wu.
He'll make an appearance. He's a special 15 minutes
Mr. Wu,
all by
if you're
himself.
out there, we want to hear from you. That was, to me, that distilled an element of Italian football. That the looks like right wing back for Sanremo got some pace, took the ball past the Casale defender. He was fouled, but the dive that he made sure the referee knew that was a foul with was pretty good. Decent free kick.
It's in. It's in. It's in.
It's in. They've equalised. Sanremo have equalised, but there's an infringement.
No, there's an infringement.
It looked like there might have been some kind of niggly stuff going on then, and sure enough, it's been the linesman's waved his flag, and the referee is ruling it out as a goal.
There are some proper angry fans now. It's not looking pretty. We're going to put our stuff down and just meld into the background. We don't want to draw attention to ourselves. Kind of a safe distance now, but they are some big fellas, and they are not happy.
The referee is in an awkward position now because there's some serious discontent with the equaliser having been ruled out. So I think he's letting this one go on a little bit longer than it possibly should. Referee blows for full time. It ends. Sanremo, the home side, 1, Casale 2. Very controversial game with a goal ruled out right at the very end.
Join us next time